Hello viewers, you're watching QTV and this is the Youth Dialogue and I am your host, Jera Wasonko. It's always good to be back. Thank you so much for the brilliant feedback from last week's show. Last week we featured women in STEM and we saw that a lot of women were really inspired. My phone was blowing up because of a lot of text messages that I had to reply to in relation to the young people's inspiration, the inspiration that they got from these women. I was so guilty when I was doing that particular program because I felt like on the show we're not giving a lot of space to women in STEM, but like I promised last episode, we will try by all means to give a lot of space to women in STEM because they're doing extremely well, considering the fact that this is a male-dominated field characterized by different cultural challenges. We're trying to change the narrative. So here with me is an honorable today. A young honorable today with me in the studio. So if you've been following developments on social media, you would see that the National Youth Parliament has a new executive. The former executive that was Fatou Jawo, Baboucarr Niang and them, they are done now. They are done and they're handing over to a set of other young people. And today I have with me the Speaker of the National Youth Parliament, Honorable Omar Cham. Honorable Bifate Omoko. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Geneva. Greetings to the wonderful viewers, and as rightly introduced, my name is Honorable Omar Cham, the Speaker of the National Youth Parliament. I'm so much delighted to be here again, as this is not my first time.
Yeah. He was here the last time on the basis of being a poet.
Yeah.
Now you are an honorable. Honorable Honorable Omar Cham. So now, just to lay the foundation, you know, make us understand the duty of the National Youth Parliament. Why the need for a National Youth Parliament?
Thank you very much, Geneva. That is always a wonderful thing to respond to. So the National Youth Parliament, in short, is actually a youth organization that has been set up to help, you know, solve the challenges of young people, especially when it comes to their participation and involvement in the development of this wonderful country. We believe with all the challenges that are going on in this country from the political and economic, socio-cultural perspective, there needs to be an organization that will come and provide the platform for young people to raise their voices and contribute towards these developments, and as well create a platform that would have young people sit on the same table with policymakers, the government, stakeholders, and both national and international partners to solve the issues of young people. That is what led to the existence of the National Youth Parliament, thereby giving birth to different thematic areas of engagement to ensure that there is consistent and sustainable focus on what to achieve and what to do, what to deliver, and what to implement. And this has been on reproductive health, road safety, gender mainstreaming, good governance, and democracy, as well as gender mainstreaming. Okay,
so now to some people, the National Youth Parliament shouldn't exist. Why should it exist? To some people. Just yesterday, I was having a conversation with someone, and he's like, oh, what are you having this week? I said, I'm hosting the new executive of the National Youth Parliament. He's like, is it necessary to have a National Youth Parliament in Gambia? I'm like, I think this is a question that I have to put on the new speaker. Is it necessary, really, to have you people in place? Because to some, it is not.
It is more than necessary to have the National Youth Parliament based on the various mandates that it implements, because no matter what, there needs to be an institution that is going to be a unified body to represent the voice of young people, especially when it comes to policy advocacy, where you know, we've seen a very important area of intervention, because we know that even though we have our policies being developed and, you know, presented by the government, they are oftentimes they're very new, they're very minor times where we're able to have these policies being dwelt on by the young people of this country. So the National Youth Parliament, aside the other functions it's going to have, is going to create that platform, whereas if any policy that is going to come for young people is going to be tabled, you know, spearheaded in the discussion by the National Youth Parliament, where civil society organizations would come and have their say. Let's say when we're talking about the National Youth Policy of the Gambia, instead of just having the government formulate it and pass it, we'll have, let's say, the National Youth Parliament, you know, spearhead discussions and go to different civil society organizations and groups so that they can look into these matters. That is just one part. There are several projects that have been implemented by the National Youth Parliament of the Gambia, including projects that has to do with peace building. For example, about less than a few months ago or a few months ago, the National Parliament were engaged, you know, into a nationwide tour where people were engaged in peace building, conflict management, etc. And also the National Youth Parliament were fully engaged, you know, into bringing understanding and cohesion between political parties to the inter-party dialogue, inter-party, also inter-party training on policy advocacy, also taking part in discussions for an inter-party youth committee, whereas different political parties and young people of this political will come and form a unified voice where they will foster understanding, maturity, and professionalism in their dealings. This is just one part. The National Parliament has partnered severally with institutions like the UNFPA, the IRI to promote good governance and democracy by also creating the opportunity for people to have a direct connection with their various parliamentarians at national level to discuss policies that actually concern them and to also suggest solutions to certain problems that are confronting the young people of this country. So we can go on and on and on talking about why the need to actually have the National Youth Parliament, you know, of the Gambia in existence, because there is no institution that is going to be able to do as great as the National Youth Parliament based on the mandate that has been given to us and based on the track record it has registered, and also based on the various things that need to be implemented by this new executive in relation to the development of this country.
So we'll come to that. Some of the things that you guys have in mind, I'm sure you have listed few things that you want to do during your time. And we will as well talk about what you think about the outgoing executive. But another thing that I want to ask is, the National Youth Parliament, do you guys do sit-ins at the National Assembly? Get them talk, so send you, and have that authority. Do you guys do that? Because I've never come across that happening when it comes to the National Youth Parliament. And I've seen that with the Children's National Assembly. You know, that gives it that authority to say that, okay, these people are sitting there making the decisions and all of that. Do you plan on doing that? Because I'm not seeing that with the outgoing executive. I stand to be corrected if it did happen, but I did not see it. So now, do you plan on doing that?
Thank you very much. So that is in fact one of the plans that we have brought forward. It is one of the most important areas to concentrate on because there is this common saying that if a parliament doesn't sit, then it is not qualified to be called a parliament. So if the National Youth Parliament is not having sittings, obviously it's going to affect the credibility and the status of the National Youth Parliament being a National Youth Parliament. It is because of that, among the reforming programs that we have in place is to restore our relationship with the National Assembly. And one of them is to, you know, regain our observer status, you know, that we used to possess. That is to say, if anytime sittings are going on at the National Assembly, the National Parliament, you know, is given a special spot, you know, to occupy and, you know, actually, you know, take part in observing those sittings and also put up recommendations, you know, cognizance with the various thematic areas that have been discussed on that particular day. So the other important thing is to make sure that the National Youth Parliament is holding sittings regularly, you know, at the National Assembly, and not just anywhere in the National Assembly, but in National Assembly chambers, you understand. But we were supposed to be able to do that, but unfortunately, it couldn't have been secured by the outgoing executive.
So which means it never happened with them?
Yes, it has never happened with them. No sitting has ever taken place in the chambers of the National Assembly with the outgoing executive. So this is something that we want to bring in, and we've already started conversation around it. Just yesterday, I was attending, you know, Gambia Participates organized event on budget transparency, you know, and fiscal oversight.
The budget partnership.
Exactly. So upon that, I was able to meet some National Assembly members, and we've started discussions around that, and they really welcome the idea of us going there. So all that is left is to deliver the letter to the Honorable Clerk and you know, have a meeting with them. And inshallah, in few months, you'll all see you know, an effect, you know, in that regard.
Exactly. I can't wait to see you guys there because it gives it that authority, there's something happening. You know, it's very important. And another thing that I want to know is, this particular executive, have you guys chosen different representatives from different regions? Because remember, if you're supposed to do things at the National Assembly, each region has to be represented. So is that, how far with that anyway?
So what happens at the National Youth Parliament is, aside the National Executive, in fact, the National Executive comes from the people. So every constituency, for example, has to send 2 or 3 people as representatives. So these representatives will form the regional body, and this regional body will elect 5 executive members. We have the speaker, deputy speaker, clerk, deputy clerk, and finance officer. So from these, when we hold our Congress every 3 years, we invite 5 delegates from each region, from Banjul to Basse. So each region will send 5 delegates, and from those delegates, elections will take place, and that is where the National Executive would emanate from. So it means not just any region, not just each region, each constituency has their own representatives. However, we want to come up with also another transformative, you know, project to ensure that instead of having 3 or 2 people or 3 people represent a particular constituency, we have 1 person represent a particular constituency, so that we can have the original face of the National Assembly. Whereas if you have sittings, we're not going to have could sit.
Nyamina East, Nyamina West.
Thank you very much. So that is the plan too. It's a reformation, and it actually takes a lot of time. But despite the numerous projects we want to engage ourselves in, right now the main focus is to make sure that we restructure and build the ground and strengthen the capacity of our members, and also restore some of the relationships and bonds that have been lost, you know, with partners or donors that are relevant.
I think you should do that, because before you start implementing things outside, make sure na sa kirangi ba.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
So when you go outside, at least you could give a proof of how organized you are. So I think it's quite important that you are working on coming up with these reforms. We are not hitting on the past executive. Disclaimer, we are not hitting on the past executive. We're just, you know, each executive comes and they come with their own ideas. Probably they had their own constraints and challenges. Probably that is why they couldn't do it. The last time I can remember having a conversation with Fatou Jawo, and she told me that they plan to do these sittings during the 2020, but because of the COVID, it was a challenge, you know, because of the social distancing and whatnot. I'm not sure how that is, but that's what she told me. At least that is something that I could relate to. And
well, just to interject on that, the past executive has done very well in that deliberation, but you understand that leadership, what is more important is to assess, you know, what your predecessors actually did, how well they did it, and what they did not do well, you do it better. And that is exactly why we came, and we're introducing a particular change. We want to make sure that the National Youth Parliament regains, you know, its deserved status as far as the national cake is concerned. We also want to make sure that the credibility and name and, you know, when it comes to exhibition of the importance of the National Youth Parliament, it should be across the board. And that is exactly what we are set to do, and this is the starting point. We are handed over the responsibility on the 4th January, you know, and in few days we're able to, you know, meet very important people. We had our consultation with the National Youth Council at first, you know.
So you have a strong partnership with them?
As a very strong partnership, and we've explained to them all the plans that we have, and they are very ready to support the cause and to make sure that we reach the right people that we are supposed to reach. And, you know, we have several other partners that we are supposed to meet. In fact, we are meeting the regional executive, you know, there are various regional speakers on the 29th of this month, just to tell you how prepared we are to make sure that the restructuring and reformation program is put to effect.
Yeah, because I can remember I spoke to Kausu not long ago here on the Youth Dialogue talking about the youth toll-free line, what's it, 116, something like that. I can't remember the toll, but then, yeah, 116. And I just hope young people out there, you're making good use of that particular number, because it's your number you're supposed to call and lodge your complaints. And if you do not do that, the project might not happen again. Kausu talked about that. And I can remember when Kausu come here, I was hitting on him, telling him what they have to do most of the time is to make sure that they don't implement and give more of these things to organizations like Youth Parliament. So I'm happy that they're able to meet, and then the bond is there. And I think the bond has been there for long. Yes, because I saw most of the time that they're partnering, the two institutions have been partnering, which is a really good thing. So now moving on, sometimes when I'm about to do the show, I do have conversations with people, because I do the show, but sometimes it's a matter of knowing what people's grievances are or trying to understand what people think and bring it here and make it clear. So when it comes to young people becoming parliamentarians, I was having a conversation with someone. I'm like, the National Youth Parliament would also help, you know, when it comes to having young people be in the parliament. So he's like, in the Gambia, when young people are in the parliament, they are not there because they're representing the interests of young people, but they're there to be used by politicians. I'm talking about the National Assembly, not you. So I'm just trying to understand what you think about that. According to him, young people are put there not because they're representing the interests of young people, but they're put there in the name of this political party has a youth representative for their own good. So as a young person being part of political activities, what do you think in relation to that? Is that so?
Basically, it is very paramount to the National Youth Parliament for young people to take part in politics.
Yes.
That is one of the things that you actually advocate for. And you could remember, even in the not too young to run, we actually, you know, administer our input as well. But one thing about National Youth Parliament is it is non-partisan. It doesn't affiliate to any political party, and neither does it, you know, have any connection with any political party. It's neutral, and that is it. So when young people get to the National Assembly, our desire as National Youth Parliament would be for them to represent the affairs of the young people and make sure that any time issues regarding young people are being discussed, they stand on their grounds and make sure that they deliver to the interests and benefit of the young people of this country. But when it comes to their party affiliations and what they do with their parties, we do not actually have any oversight over that.
Yes.
Because any interjection that we may make might render us, a little bit tinted, politically. So that is something we totally stay away from.
Okay.
Yeah.
You totally stay away from that, but still, you could, explain what you think about that. Because it doesn't mean that you're associating with any political party. How do you see the participation of young people in National Assembly? That
is what I just explained. That when young people go to the National Assembly, what they should do is to, in fact, going to the National Assembly means you're there to represent, the welfare of the people of this country.
Yeah. But how do you see their relationship with their parties in relation to the fact that they're not there really to represent young people, but used by their political leaders in the name of they're there?
You mean they're used by the political
parties?
Yes,
in the relation that, okay, as a party, we've put in a young person there.
Yes.
The whole motive is that, but not actually that particular young person making decisions on their own.
Good. So what I believe is, if a young person is put into parliament, they should be there to represent the interests of the young people of this country.
Generally,
exactly.
Yes.
So no young person will put into parliament to be used as a tool to actually fuel the interests of a particular political party. That is my stance on the issue. But for
people, that is what's happening anyway. So I'm wondering how this narrative can be changed.
Well, I think it requires a lot of capacity building, change of mindset, and also the ability to tell people that you are there for the interest of young people.
And political parties having the country at heart first as well.
Yes, and that is exactly why the National Youth Parliament, brought in the idea of, the inter-party dialogue. In the inter-party dialogue, different political parties were invited to share a particular platform, and they were informed of all the importance regarding or relating to, forming a unified voice as a country to make sure that, the national interest, actually overrides that of party interest. And even when it comes to the youth folks, where we had just young people from different political parties coming together, the same thing was actually administered to them. And they had the opportunity to have dialogues, to actually, express each other's, grievances or whatsoever thing that they thought might be ill from the other side. And they were able to, at the end of the day, even make unified recommendations, So that has been a very great achievement.
Okay.
But the role of the National Youth Parliament is to actually engage these young people, either from the political perspective, the social perspective, the economic or cultural perspective, is to engage these young people and make sure that their voices are heard and they're empowered and their rights are actually defended and protected, and make sure that they also know that they have a say in the national cake when it comes to development. And we create every platform that is available to make sure that they contribute to that effect.
Okay, so now let's take a look at I went out and about to interview some of the past executives. They talked about their journey being part of the National Youth Parliament. They also gave recommendations in relation to what you could do. So enough of the studio talking. Let's take a look at that insert, and when we come back, the show continues. Do stay tuned.
It's been an amazing journey with Youth Parliament. Like I said, I was nominated. I wasn't actually part of the key players when the tenure started, but the nomination drew me closer to the team that was elected to steer the affairs of young people. And it's been an amazing 3 years. We've had our ups and downs, and we've changed so many lives, and then we've conducted so many projects. Key among some of the projects that we have conducted during our tenure was the civic education sensitization, which was done in North Bank region and other parts of the region as well, other parts of the country as well.
It was really a tough journey for me as an executive, that is the former Deputy Speaker of the Youth Parliament. Youth work is a passion for me, so it was interesting because I wanted to do it as a form of giving back to my community and my country. Along the line, I had a lot of experience as well as challenges because we are dealing with people and it's not an easy task. But all the same, I would personally say it was a success working with the Youth Parliament for 3 years. Throughout my tenure in the Youth Parliament, we were able to achieve quite a lot of things. Things like we participated on the Not You Too Young to Run campaign. That was when we just resumed, assumed office rather. So we were behind that campaign. And another thing that we were doing is the voter education across the country and civic awareness raising. which is something that we frequently do. We also implemented projects like on the constitution review process. There's a constitutional building process. We went across the country with other organizations, and then we took part in the whole process just to inform the citizens of their rights and responsibilities. And we also made sure that we submitted a position paper, which was something that was between the Youth Parliament and other youth organizations.
National Youth Parliament, the Gambia, is a youth-led organization that is nationally registered in this country, has 30 members in each region, and has a regional executive body who also steer the affairs of regional youth matters in those regions. The National Youth Parliament is one of the most vibrant institutions that we have served as executive members. It was a tough but nice journey. We started in office in 2017. When we assumed office, we took up the challenge to ensure that we have all young people of this country being informed on good governance, being informed on civic education and also civic rights. We felt it was also good for us to collaborate and partner with institutions both inside and outside the country. We had our partners, the International Republican Institute, who we've worked hand in glove to ensure that people were civically aware on issues that affect their life. We also partnered with UNFPA, the Gambia, on the Peace Building Fund, which we were also able to train youth, inter-party youth committee. Those are our youths in the political arena. We were also able to train young people whom you know that they were out of jobs and skills and needed the skills that they wanted to have to ensure that they are productive in life and in their society.
You will have difficulties, you will have challenges, and you will obviously have opportunities because you will go to places that you've not been to before. You will interact with people, your network will be expanded, but above all, always remember that you're working for the young people. You should always listen to what their problems are, what the issues in those regions are, because my engagements have taught me that every region in this country is unique. No two regions have the same or similar problems. So each of those regions, their problems have to be highlighted and has to be addressed in a way that suits their realities as a community, as a region. So I wish you all a very successful tenure in office, and I want to let you know that we will be there and we will be available in any time that you need us to provide you support or guidance. I am personally available for it, and I know my colleagues will also be available. So best wishes in office. Love from Omar Sise. Thank you.
So these are some of the things that I will tell the incoming executive. Let them focus on the goal, the aims and objects of the Youth Parliament. Let them forget about personal interest in that organization, because if you really want to drive an agenda, a personal agenda, you wouldn't get to where it should get to. So let them make sure that they know that they're representing the young people of this country, and a lot of people are really relying on them for them to help them speak for them, because it's the voice of young people. That is the motto of the organization. So let them work beyond individual interests. Let them also not relent and wait for donors. Let them go out, do fundraising activities, reach out to people, and also be proactive. Let them not wait to be told or to be sent onto a mission. Let them took up upon themselves to go and see what the young people are facing, and then see what solutions they can offer. So this is one thing that I want them to know. And honestly, if they need help in any way, they should not hesitate to reach out to the right authorities for help. Yeah, and they should also serve as ambassadors to the rest of the young people, because if we are leading a youth organization, you cannot do things that young people would say you are doing this. So if you want to preach them, how would that be? So let them practice what they preach, and the sense of responsibility should be seen in them. And I believe that they are potential young people because I've worked with them and I know all of them. So I have no doubt that they will move the Youth Parliament. The space is already set for them, because everybody knows Youth Parliament is a household name in the country. So they have the foundation. Let them build upon that foundation and ensure that they do things that have never been done in the youth parliament, and so that if others come through, they will also take it from where they stop.
Our advice to the new incoming executive is to ensure that they've continued with that work in ensuring that the youth parliament has been a leader in all aspects of intervention in society that were deemed to support human rights, that were deemed to support governance, good governance, and also the participation of people, especially young people and women. So we will encourage this new executive to keep up the good job that we have left behind, and also to ensure that our elected representatives are also held accountable to the actions that they have done or what they are doing. It's also important for us to reflect on the major achievements that the National Youth Parliament had, and that was trying to ensure that we participated in both national and international activities. We were trained in WACSI, West African Civil Society Initiative, on parliamentary proceeding. This is why when the draft constitution came in, the National Youth Parliament was among the organizations that were definitely working hand in glove to ensure that these things go through the right processes. When it also failed, the National Youth Parliament led youth organizations in this country to ensure that the process was followed, and then we have been following the proceedings, and we will continue to do that as a parliament that we have with so much good luck to the new executive. Thank you.
Hello viewers, you're still watching the Youth Dialogue on QTV. So that particular insert was the outgoing executive of the National Youth Parliament. I'm so used to National Youth Council, National Youth Parliament, and I am here with Honorable Omar Cham, the Speaker of the National Youth Parliament. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV Youth Dialogue, and this is our topic of discussion today. So I was speaking to Omar, I spoke to Babukar, and I spoke to Fatou Jawo, and they talked about some of the developmental things that they've put in place, and those are the ones that you've alluded to. So they also talked about the fact that when you're at the National Youth Parliament, it's a lot of sacrifice, and you shouldn't be selfish in relation to doing what you have to do. That was something that they stressed to you guys, from them to you. So what do you think?
Yes, that is actually the main doctrine when it comes to youth work, when it comes to advocacy, when it comes to activism, that it is always 100% sacrifice. The moment you have 1% interest attached to whatever you're doing, then it means you have actually tainted, your role as, an advocate, or your role as an activist. I was, from my own perspective, for example, actually got into youth work when I was a very young person, like since 2006, through the Cambodian Youth and Children Development Alliance, and it was all sacrifice, till I got into the National Youth Parliament in 2008. Then they used to hold my hand like this to take me to events of the National Youth Parliament, And then, usually, of course, activism in the Gambia, you have to go to your mom or your dad to give you fare to even attend a meeting. And that has been taking place in our lives. The rest took across, the executive, the rest of the executive. From myself down to the deputy speaker, to clerk, the deputy clerk, and even the finance officer. So when it comes to, 100% sacrifice, we are very much known for that. And, it will surprise you to even note that all the meetings that we have, conducted before and after the handing over, we had to, dip money from our own pocket to actually pay for our fares and our food for those particular meetings. That is how much we are ready to sacrifice for the National Youth Parliament. Not just
National Youth Parliament, I'm on account.
Well, actually, the National Youth Parliament is not for profit making.
I know, but you guys don't have money, subventions, or something from the National Youth Council.
We do not have any form of subvention from anybody.
Okay. Yes.
So that is exactly what to tell you that it's total sacrifice. Okay. When it comes to delivering for the national.
Okay. So now how are you going to juggle all the things, because you're wearing different hats? You're at the university, you are a poet, you're the honorable there, you are something else. So, just give us tips in relation to how you juggle all of these things to deliver.
Exactly, thank you very much. So that is where the importance of multitasking actually comes in. Yeah. The ability to do different works, at different times. It's all about, being disciplined as to the task you're supposed to deliver, making sure that everything that you're supposed to deliver is delivered at that particular time. So it will not come into the time in the form of interference when it comes to delivery. It is something that I think one of the regional speakers even raised when we actually express our interest into coming to office. It was like, but champion, I think you've been very busy. Do you think you're able to manage this position? I was like, yeah, of course. The reason I've been able to register enormous success in all of those busy schedules is because I was able to manage my time well. And the journey just continues. It's about prioritizing what matters most at a particular time and also establishing a particular discipline attached to the things you do. So you'll be able to do your work at professional level where you're appointed. You're able to do your poetry, for example. You're able to do your assignments and exams, and you're able to still deliver for the people of this country through advocacy.
It's a lot of work.
Yes, it is. It is a lot of work.
I think our generation, that's what we do. That's what we all do.
We're used to
we
it.
go to school, we work, we do this, we do that. That is what we do, which is a good thing. And that is why wherever we go, we'll be able to walk there.
Definitely.
Because we put a lot of things together and we are able to deliver perfectly in each of those areas, which is a really, really amazing thing. So I think we are wishing you well in relation to this journey that you're about to start, but hope it's not going to affect the poetry aspect. We love your poems. We want you to keep serving us those. So what's the plan?
Well, it's not in any way going to affect the poetry. As I speak to you, in fact, I'm done with the poetry book of 75 poems and also the poetry album of 25 poems. Everything is done. The only thing set is to get the date. It's just that we are actually, not very clear about the expectation of the second wave of COVID and all of that. If not, you'll have seen, the date on your screen and everywhere. So we're still having the poetry album launch, a night to deliver 100 poems to the Gambian people.
Okay. Well, we're waiting for that. So we're calling on the general public to as well, support, because 100 poems to bari la de. Ba yo yep am na substance.
Bu bari. In fact, I had to struggle to take out some particular points when I was doing the sieving.
Okay.
Like when you have, your complete draft of over 100 poems. So you want to make sure that you get the best to the people. It was a big struggle for me to take out certain poems because of their quality. Okay. And the sad thing is those poems are never going to be delivered.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. So now you talked about 2 plans that you have already, that is the sittings and a lot of other things. So now talk to us about the other plans that you have as an incoming executive. You already started with 2.
Yeah.
The most prominent is sitting at the National Assembly chambers and strengthening partnership with other organizations. So what else do you have for us on the table?
Yes, thank you very much. So some of the plans actually are not discussable right now based on the fact that we have to do them in consultation with our regional bodies because they form a very important part of decision making. Yes. So we can only confirm the possibility of implementing those things on the 29th after our meeting with them. But notwithstanding, I already mentioned that we want to do a total restructuring and a reformation. We also want to restore our relationship with the National Assembly. On top of that, we want to also restore our relationship with the donors and partners, especially those that we have lost by the way, and strengthen the ones that we still have with them. And you know that it's an election year, 2021. So the National Youth Parliament will engage in series of voter education to be going in the communities to tell people, explain to them how to vote, why to vote, and the importance attached to voting. We'll also go to the communities to inform them of the importance of responsible electoral participation, to make sure that we'll take part in politics, but we'll do it with enormous care, and also ensure that we do not violate the rights of others whilst we're exercising our politics. We'll also go into the communities and inform them of the importance of peace building and ensuring that, we create a sense of bond that's going to unify us as a Gambia and to also establish a very strong pillar of social cohesion. The National Youth Parliament will also conduct election observations to make sure that from the registration stage, from the voting stage, to make sure that everything is observed, to actually assess and give our opinions on the credibility, on the fairness, and also on the freedom attached to the various elections that have been put in place. And also through our partnership with other youth organizations, our partnership with IRI rather, we're implementing, in fact, a project on the 22nd, 3rd, and 4th of this month, with regards to the draft constitution, to look at some of the loopholes and how best we can improve in case if there is...
Are you part of the discussion with IDEA and Goodluck Jonathan? Are you youth representatives there, or what is...
Actually, we are not part of the IDEA, actually, but still now the discussion, takes from different shapes. So what our perspective is coming from the community level. So we're engaging them on some of the loopholes and see how best we can make improvement, just in case.
So are you going to write another position paper?
Yes, inshallah, we'll be doing that based on what the people of the communities actually believe in and what could be done to improve the draft
I
constitution.
think the issue, the fact that as a organization, you engage young people to vote, I think it's very important.
Definitely.
Because if you look at the Gambia here, fii suñ maire yeeg suñ yaay yi ak suñ papa yi ñoo dee génn a vote.
Definitely.
Voter apathy among young people dafa bari. Young people, do you génn? So if we don't go out, we won't be able to put the leader that we want. You know, I'm not saying the current leader, we don't want it, because please, you know how Gambia is sometimes. So what I'm trying to put across is the leader that you want, because you're going to check all of their manifestos.
Yeah.
So if you check that, as an individual, there's someone that you want to see there. And to see the person there, the only thing you can do is to get up and cast your vote. And very soon, the IEC will start the voter registration. I am aware that there are some constraints with procurement and all of that, but as time goes on, of course, it will come. So when it comes, if you're 18 years, please get up, register, get your voter's card. When we start doing sensitizations for young people to go and vote on Youth Dialogue, I will come and show you my voter's card as well, just to show you that man da ma dem vote, Omar da fa dem vote. And if we don't get up to do that, you're not going to see the person you want there. And those are the people who are going to sit in the corner and start criticizing the one that is already there.
Definitely, yeah.
So we definitely have to work on that to be able to move. So Omar, due to time constraints, you know, I just wish that we had more time to be able to discuss more. I am happy with some of the plans that you have in place, especially the sittings. I just hope that you will get to invite me to one of the sittings.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, just to come and see what you guys are doing there. I would be so happy to see you guys in your gowns and taking that authority. I think it is quite important. But before we take a leave again, just to ask one more time about where you want to see yourself in the next 5 years, because we've been following you so much. So let's personalize it a little bit. Where do you wish to see yourself in the next 5 years? Gis nañ la TRRC, poet nga, gis nañ la Youth Parliament. We are seeing you everywhere, so we're excited about your journey.
It's always a very tough question to respond to.
Yeah.
Partially because like what I've set for myself is too huge, to be honest, and that is exactly what is requiring, you know, the maximum, you know, investment of all my energy, all my time, and all my resources into it. So in the next 5 years, of course, I want to believe as to be done with my university education, as also, you know, have been called to the bar, and I would have already got my qualifications, and of course my masters, you know, from the, you know, academic perspective, and also at the youth perspective, I must have delivered all the aspirations, expectations attached to, you know, our tenure when it comes to developing this country through the
it's for
youth
3 years, right?
And so exactly, it's 3 years, and then I would have been also professionally stitched to my aspirations. Yeah, especially when it comes to work. Usually, I'm not very dependent on a very rigid profession. Yeah, but I know I would really love to find myself in the legal or diplomatic field, inshallah.
Muna stitch to his profession. Mom point la. Yeah, mom point la. Muna stick to his profession. Anyway, thank you so much for what you do. We really appreciate it. This is the kind of energy that we wish to see. Dinañ la topa nak set National Youth Parliament law fa def. Wow, we will hold you guys accountable. We'll be following to see some of the plans, some of the things that you have just mentioned here, if you are implementing them. And please be engaging me so that at least when I stand here, I can give reference to some of the achievements that you guys have. I do not want to stand here all the time to say, I'm not sure about this. But at least if I know that this is what you guys are doing and it's happening, I would always stand here to say this is what you guys are doing. But if I don't know, I cannot say it and I cannot give you guys a thumbs up. And it's important to give you guys a thumbs up on the show, considering the number of people that watch it, just to make sure that people out there are inspired. You know, that is what we want. In as much as we are just a show coming here to talk, but we're a mentorship in some way, because we try by all means to just inspire the next generation. So viewers, we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we still have Omar here with us. We have a gift to present to him. A young person, Dam Fall, he came to the show, you know, before, and he makes bags. So, you know, he just told me that I'll be giving you bags every week, and then you'll be presenting it to your guests. So we will just take a short break, and when we come back, we'll get to do that presentation and wrap it up. It's a wrap up. Well, Welcome back, viewers. You're still watching the Youth Dialogue, and I am your host, Jenna Bosonko. So before we went for that break, I did mention that we will be presenting Youth Dialogue bags to our guests whenever they come to the show. So this bag is provided by Damfal. I will put his contact number right in front there, and you could take it and contact him, patronize him. You know, these are very nice bags. He just customized it this way and have Youth Dialogue in front of it, you know. And when I see some particular youth leaders wearing it in town, I'm like, yay. People like Musubako Tasao, thank you so much for always having this bag with you. She's representing us everywhere whenever she wears it, and she's like, oh, this is my favorite bag. Thank you for the fact that it's your favorite bag. So today we'll be presenting this one as well to Omar Cham. So we'll be presenting this one to you as well. So for you, should be wearing this every day.
Oh.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Omar.
Thank you so much.
So this is your bag now. Wherever you go, I represent you.
And the great thing is, kind of matches in my outfit.
It kind of matches with your outfit, and it's perfect.
I think I have to just hang it here.
Thank you so much to Damfal. We really appreciate your support. His number is right in front. Take it, contact him. He'll provide you ones as nice as this or even better. So due to time constraints, let's wrap it up.
Thank you very much, Jay. And thank you very much, the wonderful viewers. It's always a pleasure to come to the Youth Dialogue and have an opportunity to speak to young people of this country, as well as the rest of the viewers from various demographics. So what I just want to say is the National Youth Parliament is a parliament for the young people of this country. So always feel free to raise your concerns. Actually, the perceptions that you raise here regarding what other people think of the NYP is not basically, it cannot be categorized as wrong perceptions. It is just a vindication of the fact that we have a lot of work to do. And we are very aware that it's a very huge challenge to actually take up the position, but we are fully ready, more than ready, to serve the interests of the young people to the various sacrifices that we are going to do. And inshallah, in few months, you will see the deliverance of all of these things that are expected, even those that are not expected of the National Youth Parliament of the Gambia. We'll make sure that we get back to the status that the National Youth Parliament deserves. We also make sure that the credibility, the name, the recognition of the National Youth Parliament is fully restored to be able to get the required partnerships to deliver to the young people what they actually desire. Okay. I'm very happy about the invitation, and I'm also very happy for the fact that I have the opportunity to make these deliberations. And thank you all very much. See you again.
Yeah, so Youth Dialogue. So now, like I always say, Youth Dialogue is the safe space for young people. This is what we do. We make sure most of the time when young people are up to something, you get to come. I think I contacted you, right?
Yes.
I contacted you
because
I'm following all these activities. Although sometimes you guys don't send activities, but still I would have to be running around, to make sure that I get some of these things. So just to remind you that, when you have activities, let me know, because I always want to know what young people are up to, because I have a challenge as well to always say these things and share with the public what the young people are doing. So viewers, this is all we have for you in this episode of the Youth Dialogue. It's done, it's done. So before I take a leave, this outfit is provided to me by Regis Creation. Her numbers are right in front of the screen. Take it, contact her. She'll provide you an outfit as nice as this or even better. She's right there along the Manjai Highway. Very comfortable outfit. You could simply take this anywhere. Dinner, lunch, brunch, you name it. So the number is right in front of you. Take it, contact her. An outfit as nice as this or even better is guaranteed. So my hair is done by Safi Salon as well, the Marasta. I can be a Rasta too, So you can simply contact her. She'll do braids as nice as this for you, or even better. It's so comfortable and light and so natural. Everybody has been like, oh, your hair is so nice. So to be able to have this nice hair, just take her number right in front, contact her, and she'll provide you this. Don't forget to connect with QTV on our different social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay connected to what QTV has to offer. My personal social media handles are also in front of you. Take it, contact me if you have a youth organization or have anything that has to do with young people that might be of interest to your people out there, young people, young and old out there, and would provide perfect content for this particular show. Don't hesitate to contact me. If it is necessary, you'd be right here on the Youth Dialogue. And sometimes I know you do contact me in relation to content, but on this particular show, we work on teams and we work on current affairs sometimes. Like they've been elected and they're here because it's, we need to do this as soon as possible. But the show is here, it's not going anywhere. Gradually, all of you will be able to have the chance to make it here. So till I come your way next week with other young people doing extremely well across the country, do stay tuned.